Allianz Engineering is one of the leading engineering insurance and inspection providers in the UK.
Allianz Engineering is a new company, fairly new company, based around 11 years ago, formed from two organisations, Ajax, who are part of Norwich Union, and Cornell Engineering, part of Cornell Insurance. Allianz purchased Cornell about 20 years ago.
Based in Liphook, Hampshire, and employing 775 people, a key role within Allianz Engineering is that of the engineer surveyor. They are at the forefront of their business, visiting client sites to thoroughly examine and assess a wide range of plant, equipment and installations.
Well, our engineer surveyors are specifically trade orientated. We as an organisation put more weight on the subject matter expert side as opposed to a jack of all trades. But specifically, our lift and cranes engineer surveyors come from more of the mechanical background. The type of plant and equipment that they examine is incredibly diverse. It will range from a simple eye bolt or shackle right the way through to a very complex multi-storey passenger lift, for instance, in a lot of the high-rise buildings, a tower crane. So you can see it's really both ends of the scale. They work specifically to the requirements of current regulation. And again, specifically, our lift and crane surveyors deal almost exclusively on a day-to-day basis with the requirements of the lifting operations and lifting equipment regulations and the provision and use of work equipment regulations, and which fall out of really from the Health and Safety at Work Act.
Engineer surveyors would normally come from a manufacturing, repair or maintenance engineering background with at least an HND or HNC engineering qualification.
When we're looking for candidates, one of the prime areas that we first look at is the qualifications. We're governed by various bits of legislation on the requirements, and higher national diploma, higher national certificate or an MVQ level 4 is a requirement to get into the role. But even more importantly is the background that individual's had, what experience they've had. Have they had a hands-on role, not project management or managing staff, but they've actually been out there on the shop floor dealing hands-on with engineering. That's what we're looking for in our engineer surveyors.
Training is first class and is specific to the role, and all adds up to a rewarding career with development opportunities.
We can offer something different with our training package. We're in the market, or known in the market as providing an exceptionally good training package. We don't allow any engineer surveyors in training out into the field until they're fully competent into the role, and that's followed by an examination. That training is continual, so once out in the role, the market's changing out there, we continue to develop our staff to ensure they are fully trained and competent to do the roles that's required.
Allianz have 571 engineer surveyors strategically placed throughout the UK and AIR, and this continues to increase in line with business growth.
There is not only the diversity of equipment, it's the diversity of premises and locations that our surveyors operate in. It can be or retail, commercial, through educational, i.e. schools, universities. In fact, anywhere where there is equipment either operated or operating, our engineer surveyors attend, basically.
Surveyors are home-based and are provided with all of the equipment needed to operate effectively.
They work from home, their time is organised and put together themselves, which gives a certain amount of flexibility. And any 2 days are never the same, which is one of the major attractions that we find when we speak, obviously, to our own people ourselves.
The challenge the industry faces is to highlight this professional and rewarding career. Whether you're at school or university, going into a shopping mall, coffee shop, bar or nightclub, you can guarantee an engineer surveyor has carried out some form of examination to ensure that it's a safe and hazard-free environment.
The engineer surveyor's role is the excitement of the engineer, who first and foremost must really want to know how something works. And the surveying side is then where you take the step back. I've identified a weakness, a problem, a fault. You stand back, you view it, you then have to make the determination as to the impact that it possibly could have in danger to persons. So there are certainly two halves to the job. The engineering side, where you're getting in, you're finding out, you're determining how it works, and the surveying side, which lends itself better and more to the, right, I've identified a series of problems with this, what needs to be done.
So, what kinds of opportunities are available at Allianz?
We have engineer surveyors in different disciplines. We have electrical engineers, we have mechanical, we have power press, local exhaust ventilation, pressure mechanical. So we take people from all different arenas. So being specific in one particular role is not necessarily a problem. And I say what we are looking for is people with an engineering background, not specifically in one particular discipline. It's how you are as an engineer, how you think as an engineer is the key factor.
So, how do Allianz go about recruiting their staff?
When we're looking for candidates, one of the prime areas that we first look at is the qualifications. We're governed by various bits of legislation on the requirements, and higher national diploma, higher national certificate or an MVQ level 4 is a requirement to get into the role. But even more importantly is the background that individual's had, what experience they've had. Have they had a hands-on role? Not a project management or managing staff, but they've actually been out there on the shop floor dealing hands-on with engineering. That's what we're looking for in our engineer surveyors.
What does a typical day at Allianz consist of? What's the best thing about working for Allianz?
Well, the best thing about my job is the variation of both locations, people and equipment. As I say, every day is different, which brings new challenges and new equipment which you're always learning about. Organising your own work, which we are responsible for, and managing our clients is a big motivation. And at the end of the day, you leave that client's site with equipment that is safe to use, or alternatively defects that you've identified to them that could potentially be a danger. So that's a great motivator for me.